Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the SoftHeart LLC audio test system introduction. So basically, the purpose of this software is to make the audio test very easy and user-friendly. So here, let's get started. There are 6 main places where you would need to see. This is the sequence, basically front panel. Then there is calibrate front panel, equalize front panel, sequence front panel, limits front panel, and results front panel, and setup front panel. So basically, traditionally you will start from calibrate. You will calibrate your microphone, then you equalize your speaker, then you will set up your sequence and your limits, and you will be able to see the results. And some of these other functions are pretty much understood. Run step, run sequence, save sequence, load sequence, close sequence. Uh, so let's get started. So let's say I started this thing and I want to um, start calibrating my microphone. I want to calibrate UMIK and I want to calibrate channel number 1. So let's go to my setup right here so that you guys can see. So I'm going to turn it to 94 dB SPL, and let's go back to our program, and I want to calibrate it at 94 dB SPL. And let's say if this is the file name that I want to save it to. So right now you can see the folder is empty. Once I press save, it'll save the file for us. So this is the file right here. So having done that, so generally it's also possible, considering that if I want to use this file anytime I run my test sequence, I want to put it as a default file right here. And it's probably better to save it as a setup also. And at this point, since we are in the setup tab, let's also enable the waveform display. Because in the results tab, if you want to see the actual waveforms during the troubleshooting, if you want to see the waveform, they can also come out here. So it's better to enable during the setup here. For the time being, serial enable, I'll keep it disabled since we are not going to use it during the setup. So let's go to equalize. Here I want to equalize my speaker, which is using my audio output, and I want to equalize it using this microphone that I just calibrated. And let's say if we want to calibrate it from 20 kilohertz to 100 hertz in 24 1 by 24th octave resolution and 25 millisecond and 25 cycles minimum, whichever is greater. And this is the name of the equalization. You can have as many equalization that you want. So I will just label it as JBL 94 dB EQ. And generally it's better also to specify the range since I'm going 20K to 100, and I will 20K to 100. And generally it's also better to define a position where you're calibrating it to. So let's say I call it DUT center, just for the sake of clarity. So let's go down and start the equalization process. So here 94 dB SPL plus minus 1 dB limit, and I want to give it maximum 10 retries. Let's get started. So let me show you this. Let's set up. So I'm gonna put the microphone, and let's get started with the equalization. So this is done. So let's save this EQ right here. So you can see right here, it saved this EQ as I pressed save. And also let's take a look at our stimulus after the EQ. How does our stimulus look like? So this is our stimulus, and let's go to the spectrogram view so that you can see the cleanliness of this signal as it was equalizing. So you can see it's a pretty clear signal all across. So let's get to the development of sequence. So let's go, if I want to, let's say, perform a test, and I want to call it as a JBL FR test, and it's a step sine sweep. I want to go from 20 kilohertz to 100 hertz, and I mean 100 hertz to 20 kilohertz. You can go either way. The software allows for both. And let's say if my playing device is same speaker and UMIK, I'll update those, and I want to acquire channel only one. And let's enable THD, Rubb&Buzz spectrogram, and THD plus N. And at this point, since I don't have a DUT, I don't need to send any command. But if you have DUT, you can also send the commands, and that can happen in parallel also. And if you are expecting any waveform coming out of the DUT, you can specify right here. Since I don't have the DUT right here, I'll just stick with that. So let's say if I want to call this as a sequence JBL.seq and save this sequence. So, and also let's specify the EQ that we just performed, EQ file that we want to use. So I'll just select that JBL EQ file that we were using. So it just specify right here. So save this sequence again. Let's run this sequence. So you can see right here. So this is my um, stimulus. This is my recorded waveform, and this is my aligned waveform. So you can see the aligned waveform and the stimulus, they are almost right on top of each other. And this is, since it's on auto scale, let's change it back to uh, some range 80 to 120. So you can see the flatness of the frequency response right here. So basically it will put all your magnitude, phase, THD, Rubb&Buzz, and THD+N on a single graph, even if you have multiple of them. And then if you want to take a look at single curve with the limits, you can use this graph. So right now we don't have the limits, so it's showing you only the graph. But let's go ahead and set up the limits. And also I wanted to show you the BART scale spectrogram. So basically this is the BART scale for every frequency, and this is the frequency sweep index number that it's going through. And these are the sensitivity and noise results right here, and then the DUT log and the timing log. So let's go to set up the limits. Usually setting the limits is a pretty painful process, so we have made it very simple right here. So let's say if this is my magnitude and I want to set a limit of plus minus 3, or if I want to use some interpolation, you can enter some interpolation points right here. There's a separate video, you can watch that too. So let's say if I want to do plus minus 3 dB on the as the magnitude limit, I want to enable the limit, and I also want to enable the log. Similarly for the phase, let's do plus minus 360, update the current limit, enable the logging. And similarly for the TSD, let's do plus minus 3, update the curve limit, enable the log. Similarly for Rubb&Buzz, let's do plus minus 1, update the limit, enable the log, enable the limit. THD+N, uh, let's see, plus minus 20 for this one, enable the limit and the log. And that's pretty much it on the limit side. So I save the sequence again. So these are my curve limits. So let's go down to the scalar limits. So let's say for the sensitivity, I want to enable the log, enable the limit, and my lower limit, let's put 90, and upper limit, let's put 96. and update the scalar limits so that it copies all the types and everything and save the sequence. Let's go down to the bar scale spectrogram, and you can put plus 0.2 on, so let's just keep it that. Update, enable the limit, enable the log, and save the sequence, and let's run the sequence again. Yeah, I think my mouse clicked on it unintentionally, so let it run again. So here you go. You can see all the results and everything. And while I was talking in between, uh, you can also see the results and everything right here. Those are the single plots that I was talking about with the limits. So you can see them all. And this is also the bar scale spectrogram to detect the buzzing. So this is something new and special that I hope helped the customer. So anything above, basically, let's go first check. So right here, you can see that it's from the upper limit. Anything above the upper limit will be above zero. So if you see a number which is above zero here, it means that it's failed. So that is basically a good way to detect the buzzing. So this is basically your sensitivity results, DUT output, and the timing. So now since we enable the log also, so let's take a look at the logs. So it generated the CSV. Well, this is the daily log for the test sequence since we have JBL as a sequence name. So the results are for those, and this is the timestamp, and these are the CSV files. So it'll basically show you it ran 2 times and it captured all the results for you. And the results are pretty much capturing all the different things: device, test name, device, channel, test type, results, upper limit, lower limit, and the actual measurement and the overall pass fail status. So everything gets captured here. This is the daily log. So right now you can see that there is no serial number because we did not enable the serial number. So this is the results time log for that sequence. So it will keep logging for every test what the overall times are. So let's take a look at DUT. For the DUT, it also create with the serial number. As you know, serial number is zero empty. So right now there is nothing there, but we'll come back to it, take a look at it later on once we enable. So this is the DUT single log. You can see it logs everything for a single DUT also. And let's go to the DUT text log. Right now, even though there was nothing, it should be empty file, but you can see that it's a DUT, and in between the underscore there should be serial number. Since there is no serial number, that's missing. But let's enable the serial number and come back to it and run it. So now it's asked me for the serial number. I will just type in some serial number and press OK to continue. So you can see all the results right here. And let's take a look at the log file also to see if it captured a serial number. So now you can see that it created a serial number for the DUT. Let's go to the CSV log, verify those. So this is the daily log. Let's take a look at that first. So it captured a serial number also. And let's look at the, well, time log doesn't capture that. So here you can see this serial number also in the file name for the single DUT log. So this is the logging capability. Um, so other than that, so let's say if I save this sequence and I close it, and considering that now I can actually specify what my default sequence is. So when it loads, it can automatically load this thing. So let's put this JBL sequence, save this setup, and let's close this. And so now I can open this JBL sequence directly right here, or when I start the program, this will by default open up. So let's go to the system and take a look at the setup file. So the setup file is same thing. And these are the four things that we were talking about on the front panel, but you can also edit it in the program folder. So when I start the program again, it should automatically load that sequence and I should be able to run again. Okay. So now there's another thing is for basically integration with different test frameworks and everything. We also have our uh, TCP client. So, so usually in our, if you want to control it to a third party GUI, you can use this to send the command. So you can see it send a set step command and it already started running the that specific step. So you can send the command for the step, or you can send this command for the full sequence and it will automatically run with the timeout. And once it's done, it'll send a message back and then you know that all the logs are completed. So if you want to do any logging from the text file. So let's send a command for run test sequence 60 seconds. And you can see the command right here coming up. And it once it executes and completes it, it'll send the message back to the client and the message to the client will come back here. So here you go. So thank you for watching the video and I hope you like the software and look forward. So this is officially released. Anybody who is interested, feel free to reach me out and we can work with you, train you and help you out to implement on your projects. All right, thank you. Take care. Bye.